Hello students, let's learn English together. Today we are going to learn how to answer paper 2, section C, reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is the ability to read, process and understand a text. Simply put, reading comprehension is the act of understanding what you are reading. This skill is to be tested in paper 2, section C, reading comprehension. In this episode, I'm going to teach you the strategies that you can use when answering this section. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the structure of paper 2, section C, reading comprehension. Understand the types of questions. And lastly, you should be able to answer this section using the correct strategies. In order to help you understand better, I have provided you with an extract from the 2014 SPM paper. Follow my instructions and you should be able to answer paper 2, section C, reading comprehension in no time. So what are we waiting for? Let's begin. Before we begin our lesson today, let's look at section C. This section carries 10 marks. You will be given a text to read. The topic for the text varies each year. You have to answer 8 questions based on the text given. You are suggested to spend 20 minutes of the time allocated to read the text given. Analyze the question, skim and scan for important points, and check your answer. In general, the questions are organized according to the level of difficulty, from easy questions to more difficult ones. Next, we will analyze the types of questions that appear in this section. In addition, I will also share some strategies that you can use when answering these questions. The first few questions are pretty straightforward, as students are only required to lift the answers directly from the text. This type of question usually tests students' knowledge and understanding of the text. Hence, the answers would be very direct and do not require higher order thinking skills. It normally focuses on WH questions such as what, which, why and who. For example, 27A, from paragraph 2, what caused Daniel to wake up? 27B, from paragraph 5, which phrase seems moved very slowly? To understand how this strategy works, let's look at this example. This question is taken from the 2013 SPM paper. It was the beginning of the wet season. After a tiring descent from the mountain, Daniel decided to spend the night at the chalet before continuing his journey home the next morning. There were not many mountaineers at the time because of the unfavorable weather conditions. The question was, why were there not many people in the chalet? Now, I want you to look at the question and the passage closely. Do you notice any similarity? If you look carefully, you will see that the phrase, were not many, appeared in both the question and the last sentence of the passage. So we automatically know that the answer for the question number 26 is, there were not many mountaineers at that time because of the unfavorable weather condition. However, this strategy is no longer applicable since SPM 2014. Students can no longer look for the answer by using the keyword. Instead, they have to find meaning and identify the answer on their own. Let's look at this example. This question is taken from the SPM paper 2014. Initially, the activity of caving did not appeal to me at all. I always found the idea of clambering, even crawling through narrow, wet, rocky passages in pitch-black conditions, not particularly appetizing. However, after much persuasion from the nature-loving friends, I reluctantly found myself signing up for the basic caving course. Why did the writer decide to go on the caving course? Now, I want you to look at the question and the passage closely. Do you notice any similarities in them? If you look carefully, you will not see any keywords in the question or in the passage. This means that we can no longer apply the keyword strategy when looking for the answer in the text. The only way for you to find the answer is to rely on your comprehension skill. So what is the answer for this question? The writer was persuaded by his nature-loving friends to go caving. Based on this observation, we can expect similar trends in the next SPM. Hence, the questions will become harder compared to the SPM examination in the previous years. So you have to start brushing up on your comprehension skills from now. The questions are arranged according to difficulty. Towards the end of the paper, the questions will become more challenging. These questions will demand students to think critically and logically by making an inference. As such, questions will focus on WH questions like why and how. For example, 29A, from paragraph 5, why do you think the firefighters looked into the cracks and yelled? 29A, from paragraph 7, how did Razif manage to overcome all the difficulties he faced? As it is an open-ended question, you will be unable to copy the answer directly from the passage. Instead, you have to develop your own answer using the clues available in the passage. When you find these clues, you have to piece these clues together and come up with your own inference. To understand how this strategy works, let's look at this example. This question is taken from the SPM paper 2014. That night, there was a session of group games and a quiz. During the quiz, it started raining heavily. The trainers were excited and gleefully told us that caving would be extra fun the next day. Why do you think the trainers said the caving would be extra fun? This question is quite tricky, but don't worry. Let's look at the clues available in the passage. From this passage, we know that it was raining heavily the night before the caving activity. So, I want you to do some brainstorming activity. Imagine you were one of the participants in this story. You went for the activity and suddenly it rained heavily. Later that night, you went back to the tent and fell asleep. The next morning, you looked outside your tent. Try to visualize your surroundings. What can you see? Well, you could probably see water everywhere. The dirt will turn into mud. Wherever you go, it will be wet and slippery. It is hard for you to get a grip when you are walking. In addition, your clothes and shoes will get wet and dirty. Do you think this is a wonderful experience? I don't think so. From this passage, we also know that the trainers were excited when they told the participants that the caving activity will be extra fun. But why did they feel that way? Well, in my opinion, they were excited because they know that the caving activity will be challenging due to the previous day's weather. Hence, we can predict that the surface of the cave will become wet and slippery. This won't be a pleasant experience for certain people, especially those who are not used to caving activity. The trainer probably said caving would be extra fun because the activity would be challenging as the rain would make the cave wet and slippery. And this is how you piece clues together to come up with the answer for this question. Another type of question that is often asked in this section is vocabulary. For this question, students are required to find the meaning of a word, phrase, or sentence from the question and the passage provided. Many weak students struggle when answering this question. This is due to their lack of vocabulary. As a result, many are unable to pinpoint the answer accurately. They also don't understand the meaning of the word that they have to find. This makes the task very difficult for them. Hence, many end up copying a whole phrase or sentence in the answer space. Even if the answer is included in the sentence that they have written, they are still unable to acquire any marks. This is because they did not fulfill the task requirement. So, it is important for you to be specific when you answer this question. One of the strategies that the students can employ when answering this question is by looking for low-frequency words. Low-frequency words are words that we seldom use. In order to search for these words, students can look for words that they are unfamiliar with. To understand how this strategy works, let's look at this example. This question is taken from SPM paper 2014. We had to get down on all fours in the dirty mud. We all struggled to keep our noses above water as we inched our way forward. After what seemed like an eternity, we finally came to a series of magnificent cave-ins. In this question, students are required to look for a phrase in the passage which means moved very slowly. So how do we identify the answer? First, we have to look for the low-frequency words. Look at the passage closely. Can you identify these words? The words are inched, eternity, and magnificent. These are words which we seldom see or use in our daily life. But which one of these words is the correct answer? Now I want you to look carefully. Which of these sentences do you think describe movement? Well, the sentence would be, we all struggled to keep our noses above water as we inched our way forward. So we will automatically know that the answer for this question is inched. And this is how you identify low-frequency words to come up with the answer for this question. The last question usually elicits personal response from the students. This question requires students to think critically and to see whether they are able to support their answer with a reason. In this question, students have to come up with a quality or a characteristic for a character in the text. Then they have to give a reason for their answer. For this reason, this is the only question in this section which carries 2 marks. Since this question requires students to give out their opinion, they have to write their answer in their own words. This means that students are not allowed to copy their answer completely from the text. If they do so, then no marks will be awarded for their answer. This question requirement is one of the main reasons why many students do not attempt this question during exams. This is common especially among weak students. They are either not confident or they could not think of an answer. In reading comprehension, the main objective is to see whether you are able to comprehend the text and respond to the question. Hence, you will not be penalized for any grammatical mistakes. So always attempt to answer this question. It does not matter if your English is good or bad. As long as the examiner can understand your answer, then they will award you with marks. To answer this question, you have to come up with an adjective. But what is an adjective? Well, adjectives are words that describe the characteristics of nouns and pronouns. So when describing the character, choose an adjective that suits them in the most. Next, provide a reason to support your answer. Simple, isn't it? To understand how this strategy works, let's look at this example. This question is taken from SPM paper 2014. 30. In your own words, state one quality that caving trainers should have. Provide a reason to support your answer. In my opinion, caving activity is a challenging task. It is not one for the weak-minded. In order to overcome an obstacle, the participant must have strong will and determination. However, for some participants, they need that extra motivation to overcome the obstacle. So it is the job of the trainer to give them motivation and make them believe that they can overcome the challenges. Therefore, the caving trainers must be really supportive. To answer the first question, I am going to choose the adjective supportive as my answer. The reason for my answer is that I believe that the caving trainer should know how to motivate the participants. And this is how you answer the last question in Section C, Reading Comprehension. I hope you have learned new things from this video, and I hope to see you again. Till next time, bye!